Uh, well, good afternoon, ladies and gentlemen, and welcome to Olembe Stadium here in Yaoundé. And first of all, just thank you for coming here at a very short notice. We really appreciate your time. This press conference is going to be in two languages, that is English and French. Now, ladies and gentlemen, we will have a statement by the CAF president. This is how we'll do the press conference. And then, obviously, afterwards, we'll take three questions. I also want to welcome the vice presidents who are joining us here today, President Waberi, President Kanizad, and, of course, President Momo. On stage, the president is joined by the Secretary General, that is Veron Mosengo Omba. Now, ladies and gentlemen, without wasting time, I'm going to ask the president of CAF, Dr. Patrice Motsepe, to say an opening statements to you, and then afterwards we will take three questions. Thereafter, we close the press conference. President, you have the floor, please.
I hope it's on. I'm going to ask that just we all observe a moment of silence and silent prayer for the 8 people who lost their lives yesterday at the stadium. Okay, thank you. And let me start by expressing our deep condolences to the families of the spectators who came to our Olembe Stadium yesterday and who've passed on. I went to the hospital this morning to see those who were injured. There's approximately 7 that were injured, and we spent some time. Last night I was on my way to the hospital, and I was told, please do not come to the hospital because there may be many people, and particularly media, who might come with you. And the focus was allow us to try and focus on the people who are injured, as well as to make sure that we deal with those who need urgent attention, and that's why the instruction was we will indicate to you when to come and see those who are in hospital and those who are injured. So I just want to indicate that there's of course, there are legal agreements between CAF, the LOC, as well as legal agreements involving the government of Cameroon. What I'm clear in my mind, what I'm absolutely clear about is spectators come to a football match to enjoy the football. Whatever legal obligations or legal commitments there may be, in my mind, are of secondary importance, all of us. I know that legally the LOC is responsible for the safety and the security, but we are their partners. And we have to make sure that the safety, and of course we've been focusing more on COVID-19, and the health of every single spectator is our primary concern. So there is zero tolerance, absolutely zero tolerance on circumstances which could result in people being injured at the stadium or people losing their lives. We have to take emergency and urgent steps now. So I have called a meeting tomorrow of the AFCON organizing committee, and I've also sought the guidance and advice of my vice presidents, whom I want to thank for being here with me. And the starting point is very clear. I need, and CAF needs, a report on what happened, what should have happened, the circumstances that led to people being injured, including those who lost their lives, urgent emergency steps and measures to make sure that that doesn't happen again. We are all partners. And, whenever in my discussions with the CAF people, and I think they legitimately tell me about what the agreements provide, the responsibilities, the LOC, the responsibilities, the government, we are partners. And when people get injured and people lose their lives, the last thing I'm interested in is to find out who, it's somebody else's responsibility, it's not mine. We have to take collective responsibility. And whatever the legalities may be, we will deal with later. So that's why there is no tolerance, zero tolerance on the circumstances. And I went to Olembe Stadium to see exactly where it happened. And I've been given lots of feedback and had lots of discussions until very early this morning. And the first thing that I'm going to ask the organizing committee is, the next match that's supposed to take place at Olembe should not take place. And I spoke to the senior person in government, and it's correct, out of respect, they are our partners, to indicate that there must be an immediate a committee that's set up to immediately investigate what happened. And in that context, to find out who was supposed to do what and who did not do and perform their responsibilities. We want that report by Friday. But as I said, the game that is scheduled for Olembe Stadium on Sunday is not going to take place. And as I said, out of respect to our partners and governments, it's going to take place at Amadou Ahidjo. So it's going to take place at Amadou Ahidjo, and which is here in Yaoundé. And there will be other changes that will be made, but I need to overemphasize. And let me first say that we have inherited the agreements as they stand, because these agreements were concluded quite some time ago. And of course, as I said, whenever something happens, the first thing people do is, I'm not responsible. I'm not the one to blame. It's somebody else. And my starting point is, CAF is a partner. We are as responsible as the LOC, as well as the government. It's our duty, and we will discuss with them in terms of what should have happened, and to make sure that there is immediate institution. And we all have to be satisfied. I absolutely have to be satisfied that what happened will never happen again. Absolutely never happen again. And the disciplinary committee is going to sit and get the report from the match commission and everybody, because they have to get hold of that. But as I said, in the interim, the game that is supposed, the match that's supposed to take place, will not take place until there's an absolute thorough report of the circumstances that gave rise to people being injured and losing their lives, and an absolute guarantee that corrective measures have been taken, will be in place to make sure that the remaining matches are played in an environment of primary focus on safety and health, and that we will never, ever, whilst this competition is continuing, have circumstances that will result in people being injured. So I'll be hosting a meeting tomorrow of the organizing committee, and what I've said to you will be discussed there, but I've already been sending notices to the members of the AFCON Cameroon Organizing Committee to agree to my suggestion. And as I've said, I've spoken to the government, and they are supportive. And I must say that, that there is a huge amount of commitment, a huge amount of recognition that that there's a need for urgent intervention. And I would not want to speculate. I should not speculate until the hearing or the committee that is getting all the facts and the report of the coordinator, executive coordinator, general coordinator, and the report of the match commissioner and everybody in terms of what happened has been submitted. So I'll take a few questions, and I know they said 3, but I think we've got to rush off. And if you allow me, I'll take them and we'll write them. Now, just hold on. I think we've got a duty to deal with the questions as best we can. Yeah, I'll come. Don't worry. I have to get on the plane afterwards to go to Bafoussam for the next match, and then be back tonight. So we have a duty to answer as many questions as we possibly can. Just keep it as close to making sure we are not late for our next engagement. And then we will, I think what will happen after the meeting of the organizing committee will release a statement. So with your permission, we'll take the first few questions and I'll allow others, okay?
Just gentleman in the middle.
Sorry? Yeah. So I've just been reminded that we are instructing every match that takes place now. There'll be an observance of silence and an observance of respect. That instruction has already been given in recognition. And let me say, CAF will be in touch with the families of the people who have passed on, every single one of them. And as I said, I visited those who were injured at the hospital, and I'm told those who have left the hospital, the ones I saw are the ones that have got serious injuries, and I'm happy that they're recovering. And they said the others who are injured have gone home or are at other hospitals where the injuries are not of a serious nature. So, and part of engaging with the families is to say, how can we help? Let me just repeat. The way the legal arrangements stand now is that the security is the responsibility of the local organizing committee. It is not the responsibility of CAF. CAF's responsibility is to advise. This is what the legal arrangements entail. And that's why I was saying that, whenever I talk to everybody, the starting point is, but, CAF has no legal obligations. It's not CAF's responsibility. CAF is not the one to blame. I mean, I understand that. That's the legal position. I understand that's what the contracts entail. I understand that. But we are partners. This is not a time to be pointing fingers and saying, there's a problem and it's everybody except me. The starting point has to be, we all have a duty, a huge responsibility. And we'll get on top of it and we will release the findings, as I said, concerning the circumstances and how we fix them. Let's hear the questions you've identified. Who's the first question? Yes?
The gentleman in the middle.
Yeah, I'll be guided by him. Who's the first one?
The gentleman in the middle, President.
There are so many in the
blue,
middle.
blue shirt, please.
Okay. And as I said, after he's taken, I'll open it up so that you can some of you get them. Okay?
Yes, sir. Good afternoon. Clive Jazz is my name.
Yeah. And my apologies. And those who speak French, please ask your questions in French. They'll be translated to me, and I'll answer them in. Sorry. My name is Patrice, but my French is and I'm learning. You must teach me French because my father didn't call me Patrick. He called me Patrice, which is French. So I've got a duty to. Anyway, so let's start with you.
Yes, sir. Good afternoon. Clive Chase is my name, journalist from Uganda.
Yeah.
And probably thank you for that comprehensive report. And while we wait for more official statements, like you said, from the meetings you're going to have, maybe we would be more interested if we got to know exactly what might have happened from the
Yeah.
few briefs you got by visiting the site, the few people you talked to, what exactly happened, what caused
Absolutely.
the stampede.
Yeah, absolutely. So that's exactly what the hearing is doing. We have a duty to find out, as you correctly said, exactly what happened. And I think more importantly, to put in preventative measures to ensure that what happened never happens again. That clearly there were deficiencies, clearly there were failures, there were weaknesses, there were things you can't. There are things that we should have that should have been foreseen. Man, come on. You take preventative measures. You take steps that anticipate that if certain things happens, those interventions will ameliorate or preferably bring to an end circumstances that can give rise to injuries, let alone loss of life. Where's the next question?
Next question, we will go to the back. We'll try and rotate everyone, so
Yeah.
please. We'll go to the back, and then afterwards we will come back from the front. So please be patient. Oui, monsieur.
Bonjour, Président.
Bonjour.
Riyad Razi, Flash Radio Maroc. Président, merci de votre explication.
Okay, now I need to
Ouais.
put on my
Translation, please.
yeah, just hold on. So you must help me now. Is it on the right
Should
place?
be on your right channel, President.
Just help them. Yeah, just put it in there. I always get it wrong when I
Oh, this is French. This is.
and then there's a Chinese. Oh, thank you.
Are you okay now, President?
C'est bon?
Yeah, English is one. Sir, I can hear you.
You can in English? There we go.
Okay, I can hear you. So you are translating to me. Thank you so much. Merci beaucoup. Continuez.
Oui,
Continuez. Continuez.
Président, merci pour votre explication de ce qui était arrivé hier. Président, ma question, est-ce que vous ne pensez pas que vous avez pris des risques, surtout d'organiser la CAN à cette situation-là? Merci.
Very, very good questions. You see, my main risk was COVID-19. My main risk was Omicron. Those were my main risks. And then the other risks are the sort of fundamental steps that you have to take, even if there's no Omicron or even if there's no COVID-19. The safety, security of spectators has to be the fundamental primary concern and obligation. Now, let me tell you something else. And I don't want to breach any confidence. I have no doubt that there's a huge amount of commitment. And I've seen that and I've been exposed to that. And that's why I felt confident and continue to feel confident that the people of Cameroon, the government of Cameroon is absolutely 100% committed. I've seen that and I continue to see that, and I've got no doubt I'll get that total cooperation until the end. I have a fundamental duty as the president of CAF to make sure that the circumstances, the infrastructure, the facilities at the stadium are in line with safety worldwide. And as I said, we should stop saying that stadiums in Africa will be at a level in terms of global standards, will be at a lower level. We will always aim to make sure that in its totality, whether it's the pitch, whether it's the safety, whether it's the security, that we're in line with what happens in Europe and worldwide. And one of my advisors was saying that, you know, even in the best stadiums, there are accidents and problems do happen. But we have to make sure that at all times, the infrastructure and the resources are world class. Was it a risk coming here? I'm involved in so many ventures worldwide, and my duty is always to not just to take responsible steps, but also because I'm more inclined to be or conservative, to be as conservative as possible and put measures in place that minimizes the loss of life. So I'm happy and pleased with the measures that are in place. I'm extremely disappointed and sad and hurt with what has happened yesterday, and everything possible is going to be done to make sure that doesn't happen again.
Okay, if we can just move to the gentleman, I'm going to come to you, I promise you. I just need to go to the one at the back and then I'll come to you. Thank you very much.
Alex Chismich, New Frame. Good morning. Talking about
If
responsibility.
you can speak a bit loud, that will help.
Can you hear me?
Yeah, thank you.
Yeah. Good morning, Alex Chismich, New Frame.
So Alex from?
Chismich from Italy.
Oh,
New Frame.
Italy. Yeah. Buongiorno.
Buongiorno. Talking about responsibilities and security measures, are you aware that around the Olembe Stadium, just a few entrances are available to deal with a huge flux of people entering the stadium? And if you are aware, why? Who allowed games to take place in that stadium? Thank you.
Yeah, you see, let me tell you, I mean, I spent more than 2 hours in the car. Had a security had an escort. They couldn't move. I arrived 10 minutes before the match ended, and I was told, "Don't worry, it'll take you maximum an hour." So I left way in advance. I think, in all fairness as well, there was an abnormal number of people. Let me say this to you. One of the ladies who's injured and that I saw this morning, and I saw a number of women, she came to the stadium with her son, with her small son. And 2 others came to the stadium with very young children. And I'm told that some of the people came just to be part of the atmosphere, and including those who didn't have tickets. So I think we do accept that thousands of people, more than what was expected, did arrive. Having said that, we will have very tough and very hard discussions behind closed doors. And I'm confident because of the discussions I had this morning. What happened yesterday in terms of the proximity of people being allowed to the stadium in a manner that is not properly coordinated and governed will never happen again. Should not happen again. I went to see where the people lost their lives. I went there this morning. And you see, it's a gate, and I'm not preempting what the discussions are because another journalist asked me the same question this morning. That gate was supposed to be closed, and it was open. Isn't that correct, Sarah? It was supposed to be, it was supposed to be open, because if it was open, they would have walked through, and it was closed for reasons, for inexplicable reasons. It was closed. If that gate was open as it was supposed to, we wouldn't have had this problem we have now, this loss of life. So of course, as part of the hearing, we want to know, but who closed that gate? Who's responsible for that gate? And it's, as I said, it's inappropriate. I should not be conducting or even expressing opinions whilst the matter is still under consideration and is still in a hearing.
Merci, President. I'll take the gentleman here. Thank you very much.
Thank you, President. Bilal Giza from Bein Sports. Will what happened yesterday affect the success of this edition? Even before, people, they were talking about the fields. They are not
You're talking
good.
about?
The fields. They are
the
not
pitch.
good. Yeah. And also about referees.
Yeah.
What can you say about this?
Yeah. Well, you've got to, I mean, there are two issues. We have to put in the best circumstances, conditions, infrastructure, best plans, best resources to make sure that we deal with any eventuality in line with best practices in the world. And the fact are the facts are, even in Europe, in America, worldwide, with the best infrastructure, resources, personnel, accidents do happen. And we should not compromise in terms of our insistence to have these appropriate measures which are in line with the best in the world, and accept that there may be unforeseen circumstances like this one. But I don't even think you should call this an unforeseen situation where a gate which is supposed to be open is closed. So I just want to conclude by saying that, there has been very serious and very hard discussions that we've had amongst ourselves with our partners and with our partners in government. And the message I want to overemphasize is there's a huge amount of commitment to ensure that that appropriate measures are put in place, that this doesn't happen again. Yeah, we'll go random now. Yes, yeah. There's a gentleman there.
Alex Blériot-Momha, Spotlight de l'Union africaine des radiodiffusions, votre partenaire. Alors la question est de savoir, au-delà de cet accident, cette situation malheureuse, quel est votre regard général sur l'organisation de la compétition dans les stades et au-delà des stades?
Yeah, I think we've got to be very clear. We've got to start and say we are absolutely sad, hurt, and emotionally in a condition of pain, and we should not sidestep that issue. And the next point is we should not compromise on our insistence that appropriate measures will be taken, should be taken, to make sure that this doesn't happen again. And once we've reaffirmed those two fundamental principles, we can then move on, as we have to, and look at the important questions you ask. And I must say that we remain absolutely committed to make sure that the very high standards that we set for ourselves, and you must understand that, if you are part of a football team and your job is to be the goalkeeper, you depend on the strikers and the midfield, and you depend on the remaining 10 for the success. I mean, that's life, and that's in everything we do in society. So, I mean, sometimes I'm the goalkeeper and I think that, on my own, I constitute the 11 players, and that's not totally correct. Or I'm the striker, or I'm the midfielder, and I think I'm I'm the only one who should score goals. So I just want to emphasize that the success of the competition depends on us, with our partners, the government and the local organizing committee, and I remain convinced. And as I'm saying to you, we had very hard, very tough, very serious discussions, as we have to, as we are supposed to. When people lose their lives, you must be angry, and you must be impatient, and you must ask questions, and you must demand explanations, and you must demand a guarantee that it'll never happen again. We've done that. And I conclude by saying, I have the comfort, and tomorrow when we meet with the leadership of the organizing committee, I will reaffirm that. But I'm going to be a little bit more paranoid. I'm very obsessive by nature, but now as we move forward, we want to see things, and I've got that commitment from the government happening in advance. This is a situation that we all of us, including the government, including the NOC, will not and do not tolerate.
So Super Sport there, the back.
Super Sport, yes, Tato.
She's been raising her
Tato
hand.
wako hai.
Timela, President.
Wa madile naam.
President, just a question. You've spoken about going to the hearing tomorrow. Is it in your opinion that we should cap the capacity for the games for Cameroon from an 80% perhaps to a 60% like the rest of the other games?
Very good question, Tato. You see, I mean, you could even have had 100% attendance. I mean, assuming that there was no COVID-19. It's the measures you put in place to control people and control entry. And those measures were there, but we need, and the appropriate preventative steps were put in place. But the question is, why were they not functional as they were supposed to? Let me give you an example. I have been to many matches. I mean, I've owned a football club for many years. They were champions in Africa. It's owned by the family. And I love football. I'm fanatical about football. And you see how they control entry way in advance. I mean, they were telling me this morning, the first entry, you've got to show your ticket. It's good. You are far away from the stadium. You've got to show your ticket. Once you've done that, and then you've got to move on and show your the COVID-19 documentation, which is quite some distance away from the entry, and that's okay. So the processes are fine. It's like having a wonderful car, and everything is okay, but when you start it, it's not functioning as it should. And then came the problem. This gate, which was supposed to be open, if that gate was open, we wouldn't have this problem. But somebody closed it. Who closed it? On whose instructions? And when they realized that it was closed, why wasn't it opened immediately? So we'll deal with those issues. But Tato, the issue is not 80 or 60 or 100. The issue is that more people arrived than what should have, but even then, there were significant, adequate control measures in place. There are gates. You don't get past stage 1 if you don't have a ticket. You don't get past stage 2 if you don't prove that, you know, I've been vaccinated, I've got a PCR test, and I'm COVID negative. And then comes where the accident happened, where the gate was closed, we should have been open. So we should be careful that we should put our finger on where was the deficiency, where was the failure, and not look at other issues which are not irrelevant, but which are not the circumstances that gave rise to the accident. Okay, I'm told that I must go, but let me have a few more. I'd rather arrive a little bit late there. I arrived late yesterday, so I may as well arrive a bit late today. Yes?
Okay, the gentleman next to Alu, and then afterwards we go behind him, and then we'll come this side.
Yeah.
Alors, merci, Monsieur le Président.
Sorry, so let me just put it on. Yeah.
Merci, Monsieur le Président. Je suis Samuel Billon de la Radio Nationale du Cameroun. La CRTV, au-delà de l'incident d'hier, il y a des critiques formulées sur la validité des tests Covid. Au début de la CAN, on le savait, la CAF a annoncé la présence au Cameroun d'un laboratoire indépendant pour ces opérations. Est-ce que le laboratoire est là? À qui appartient la responsabilité des tests Covid? Aux délégations, parce que le Cameroun est pointé du doigt. Merci.
Yeah. Well, very, very good question. I think my Secretary General says he wants to jump, but let me just say two quick issues before he comes in. My main concern was because you need to show a negative COVID-19 test to come into the stadium, to come into the stadium, that there would be a multiplicity of improper documentations, and people would present that at the stadium. And I'm told that process, in fact, I was so pleased when the government said to me, you've got no idea. We had serious problems telling people to vaccinate. The minute we told them you cannot go to the stadium without being vaccinated, there was an abnormal uptake. I think I must tell Biden and the others the same, that tell those who go to the American football or whatever. But anyway, So that was my concern, and I think that is going well. But the Veron will tell you, because now I hear about, and of course Unilab will tell you it's world class. They are responsible for the top football confederations and clubs in the world, and that's why we brought them, so that there could be no argument that. Veron, will you answer in French, please? Not Chinese. Shady will answer in Chinese, but you answer in French.
Merci beaucoup, Monsieur le Président. Merci pour votre question, Monsieur. Vous vous rappelez lors du Tchad, il y a eu des contestations sur des contrôles Covid de certaines équipes par rapport au test qui a été effectué par le laboratoire domicilié ici au Cameroun. Cette fois-ci, pour éviter ce problème, ces suspicions de laboratoires locaux, nous avons décidé de contracter un laboratoire indépendant, fiable, dont l'expérience n'est plus à démontrer, parce qu'Unilab, il a eu la responsabilité de conduire des tests lors de l'Euro et puis lors de la FIFA Arab Cup. Donc c'est ce laboratoire-là qui est venu ici avec ses propres matériels, qui conduit des tests pour les équipes, les joueurs et les officiels de la délégation. Quoi.
Let me tell you something quickly. Over the last few months, I've had so many, on this important question, so many presidents say to me, my national team, I don't want to mention names, went to this country. And then when they arrived at the border, they did tests. And 6 of our top players who we had tested and who were negative, all of a sudden are positive. So they look and say, where's Obamajan? Where's Sadio Mane? Where's Salah? Where's Weno? You've got a positive test. So to make sure that there's absolutely no doubt about the independence and the impartiality and the legitimacy of the, I'll come to you, just hold on. Of these tests, we gave it to an independent party organization, in which the SG correctly said, really they are amongst the best in the world. And let me say something else. You know what is weird? Some of the highest, because the players when they land here, every player when you land here, you get a test. And it's weird, but many of the positive tests, which resulted in some of the best players in the world not playing, is because they were in some parts outside Africa. And they came here with a high amount of COVID, being COVID positive. And Unilab picked it up. And of course, some of them said correctly, no. There's something wrong with this test because he comes from this wonderful country, there's no COVID. And we said, and then there's an issue. Do you have another test? And so I'm just saying that we actually found that in terms of the test, the results that we had initially, that those who came from, I don't want to mention where it was, many of the nations went there, had a high degree. And those who came from other parts of Africa, in fact, were very negative. Anyway, yes, Veron.
Je voudrais juste ajouter
Sorry.
Je profite de la question de monsieur pour remercier sincèrement les autorités camerounaises qui ont autorisé le laboratoire Unilab de faire des gestes médicaux ici dans ce pays. Voilà.
Yeah. And I also must be careful because as much as there are things that annoy me and that I want changed, that I don't give a message that demotivates and demoralizes. We'll give the hard message privately, and of course we've got a duty to report to you, but at the same time, we still have 2 weeks to go. I need to maintain, there's a huge amount of positive attitude and positive commitment, and which surpassed what my wildest expectations were, and I want to maintain that, from the government, from the people, and from the LOC. Who do you want to speak now?
We'll just go this way, President, on my left, and then afterwards we go to the back. Maybe we'll take the last question in the back.
Tato, because you are from Abopane, you can ask as many questions as you want.
Oui.
Gentleman there, please.
Bonjour Président et merci
Bonjour.
de répondre à nos questions. Patrick Juillard pour le site Foot 365. Plusieurs team press officers, attachés de presse des sélections, nous ont confirmé avoir reçu dimanche en fin de journée un nouveau règlement médical comportant des changements sur le retour des joueurs du Covid. Mais on n'a pas vraiment eu de clarification sur le contenu de ce nouveau règlement. Et on ne sait pas vraiment ce qui a changé. Les Comores disent que c'est pour cette raison qu'ils n'ont pu aligner Ali Ahamada puisqu'il n'avait pas fait 5 jours de quarantaine après son premier test positif. Pouvez-vous nous dire si le règlement a changé et si maintenant tout joueur ayant été testé positif devra avoir fait 5 jours de quarantaine au moins avant de pouvoir rejouer? Pour finir, je rappelle qu'au premier tour, le sélectionneur du Gabon, Patrice Motsepe, avait pu être assis sur le banc au lendemain de son test négatif après avoir été positif pendant 24 heures. Donc quelle est maintenant la règle et qu'est-ce qui a changé précisément? Merci.
Yeah, I think Veron will answer that. Let me just say quickly, tomorrow we will tell you about the matches that we are going to rearrange. Samson, where are you? In terms of the proposal, just remind me, because this is my proposal to EXCO tomorrow. Just repeat, because we are going to, just give it to Samson, there's the mic. Because we are going to not allow the next game at Olembe to proceed, and there's going to be a rearrangement of some of those fixtures. So I'm going to be asking for permission from the organizing committee tomorrow. So I just thought you can say to them, just announce them so that at least people are aware.
Okay, President, thank you. And the proposal that will be put to the organizing committee is for the match number 47 that was supposed to take place in Olembe.
Can you stand up so that they can see you? And maybe if you stand in front, you can, they can hear you better and take the mask off. Yeah.
Okay, so the proposal is for the match number 47 that was supposed to be played in Olembe to be moved to Amadou Ahidjo, and match number 48 will be moved to Limbe.
Yeah. Now, who is number 48 and number 448? I mean, who do we know? The ones we know. Are there some we know already? Because we know one team, or we don't know the others.
We don't know the others. So the match number 47 is the winner of match number 43, which is between the winner of Côte d'Ivoire and Egypt versus the winner.
Because my Egyptian relatives were saying they were going to win, and the Côte d'Ivoire relatives said no, they are definitely going to win.
And the second team is the match that will be played today here in Amadou Ahidjo, Morocco,
so
Malawi.
Just repeat again, match, because people don't understand.
Match number 47 that was supposed to be played in Olembe will be moved to Amadou Ahidjo, which is going to be between the winners of the match today between Morocco, Malawi, and the match tomorrow of Côte d'Ivoire and Egypt. So instead of it being played in Olembe, it will be played in Amadou Ahidjo.
Okay. Is that the only thing?
That's the only thing. And then the match number 48 will be moved to Limbe. And this one is the match that involves the team between Senegal and Cape Verde, or the winners of Mali, Guinea Equatorial.
Yeah. Okay. So just this is the advice I've received, and I've also sought the guidance of my vice presidents, and we'll be putting that tomorrow to the organizing committee for them to. And in fact, we're already sending out some of the notices today. Okay. So I just thought to alert you. Sorry, Brown.
Okay. Merci, Président. Merci, Monsieur, pour votre question. L'état du Gabon dont vous parlez tout à l'heure, je n'ai pas connaissance de ça. La commission médicale a décidé de réajuster le règle. Une de ces règles qu'il a réajustées, c'est après avoir été testé positif, après 5 jours, on fait des tests cardiovasculaires. Donc, après 5 jours de confinement, si vous êtes négatif, on fait des tests cardiovasculaires pour pouvoir vous permettre de jouer. C'est ça juste l'ajustement qu'ils ont fait. Mais ce qui était plus important, c'est faire ces tests cardiovasculaires parce que après Covid, on ne peut pas laisser des joueurs aller sur le terrain comme ça et puis il y a des problèmes cardiaques. C'était juste ça. Mais le jeu du gardien, de l'entraîneur gabonais, je ne suis pas au courant. Merci.
Yeah. Okay, now I hope you can hear me, the lady who is translating. You are doing such a wonderful job. Can you hear me? Yeah. I'm sometimes not so fortunate. Sometimes my translator says they said I must go to China when actually they said I must go to America. But you're doing a wonderful job. Thank you. Okay, now I'm in serious trouble now because we should have left quite some time ago. So I hope you don't mind that we try and take a few small and rush out. And if there's the CAF communications department is there. If there's any questions, including the Secretary General, please feel free. And we are duty bound to respond at all times. So let's just take the last three, okay?
Ed?
My name is Ed Dove
Ed?
from ESPN.
Sorry, just my apologies. I think your mic.
Sorry, Ed,
Can
if
you-
you can just let's lift your voice a little bit, mate.
Can you hear me now?
Yes, please.
Okay.
Can you hear me now?
Thank you.
Yeah. Yesterday we saw mothers who lost sons. Today there'll be classmates who have lost their friends from school. Some people may say there's not quite the appetite for this festival of football anymore. Personally, were there any deliberation on your part about cancelling the whole tournament or calling off the Nations Cup at this stage? Has that been talked about at all after what happened yesterday?
Ed, very good question, eh? And the issue was, should we postpone today's matches? And it's a very important question. And there are certain things where there's a from my side, there's a duty not just to consult, but also to listen to the guidance of various stakeholders. And the conclusion was we should observe the moment of silence. One of the specific questions is, should we today's matches? Should we start with today's matches? And it was indeed an issue that we had to discuss and consider. And I mean, it's incredible how some of the people who are injured, two of them were saying they can't wait to get out of hospital and go to the stadium. Just on a positive note, as painful and as sad as today is, I mean, I spent more than 2 hours just stuck in the traffic, and I really saw the passion, the absolute passion of the people of Cameroon, and the love they have for football. Now, I come from a country where, you know, we were separated based on race, and we always knew the power of sports, and specifically, we always knew the power of football. I mean, I was in the stadium with my wife when Nelson Mandela was wearing the tray of the jersey of the captain of the rugby, and that was a source of deep division. And I mean, I grew up in a country where blacks were not allowed to play football with whites when we were children, and of course, when we played football together and could go to school together, we are all God's children. And the beauty is, you know, those who are green, yellow, black, that's the beauty of all of us. And that's why the question that Ed asked is something that we have to consider. Two final questions quickly before we go.
All right, we'll take...
So the point I was just making is that football really brings people together. And the passion for football in this country is so entrenched and deep-rooted.
All right, we'll go this way, then we go, last question will be this side.
Okay.
Sorry, madam. Excuse me, madam. Yes, please.
Good afternoon, Your Excellency. My name is Mo Brian. I am a sport journalist for Kick 44 from Cameroon. I want to begin by commending the numerous efforts taken by the African Football Confederation to ensure that we have an amazing and fabulous soccer showpiece. Okay, my question is, now you visited the victims, and so what is the take-home message that we will leave this conference room to transmit onto the relatives, our friends, our neighbors? Thank you very much.
It's a very, very good question. And I think the first thing is to say our deepest condolences to those who've passed on. And we're already sending out, communicating with the families as CAF to contact them. And even those who are injured, the message was, we want to be there for you and provide whatever support and encouragement that we can. But the other message as well is to say that we take account of the important role that football plays. I mean, one of the prominent people told me at the stadium that today it doesn't matter which religion you belong to. Today we are all put together by football. Now I work with all religious organizations because I am what I am because of the support I've received from, you know, Christians, Muslims, Jews, and across the board. So I've got a huge bond and an obligation to all religious organizations. But they also said that today, whatever political divisions exist amongst all of us, we are all Cameroonians. And the third thing they said, which was also important, is whatever uprisings, fights, and I know there were parts where they say that there's Amazonia or Amazonia, that when there's a football match, they stop a little bit and watch the football, and then afterwards they... So I'm just saying that the message to all of our people is, and again, on a positive note, because whilst we are dealing with the pain that we feel, we also have to deal with the obligations we have to all our people. But to say that we've taken note of the huge, the love that our people have for football and the role that football plays in bringing people together of all backgrounds on the continent, in Cameroon, in Africa, but also worldwide. People from Europe and Africa, Asia and Africa, South America and Africa. That's the beauty of football. Okay, I'm told that I must now... There's one more. Okay. I'm told that we are available to deal with all questions later. And let me just repeat what I said at the beginning. From day one, I was asking the media to be our eyes and ears. And if you see any failures and deficiencies on our side, please let us know. Because, you know, an independent and a critical media is beneficial. And Nelson Mandela said, I'd much rather have a media that embarrasses me all the time than a media that is not free to ask the questions that they want to. So please, I can't agree more with what he said. We've got to encourage, in Africa in particular and worldwide, that our media feels free to interrogate, and we have to support them and create an environment that allows you to do your work. Thank you so much. And I will not be having another press conference until the end. So we will be dealing rather with media releases and statements, but I don't think we'll have another press conference like this between today. I will have a press conference at the end when the AFCON is over, so that you can then tell us your assessment. And as I said, as well as your areas of perceived weaknesses on our side and areas where we can improve. Merci beaucoup. Thank you so very much, and thank you for coming.